Hey guys, so now that this is dry, we can take off the clamps. What we're going to do here is we're going to measure roughly, just kind of like this, how much ribbon we need. So we're just going to measure it like that, and we're going to cut right about there. So you want about about a millimeter or two, just off of the edge that you're going to have here. So I'm going to fold it back, just like that. Again, make sure that you've got everything lined up because these are your your semi-final measurements. And then you're just going to cut the extra ribbon off. Okay? And we're going to do the same thing for the other side. And this will act as the binding that will hold everything together. So there we go. So make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay. There. Doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to sort of be done. So we've got that. So have a peek. It'll look something like that. And it's all nice and glued. It's actually quite strong. So there we go. Okay, and then from here, I'm just going to see if I can get a slightly better... Sorry my angles aren't the greatest in the world. It's kind of hard to do this on your own. What you're going to do is you're going to take your brush and once again pick the kind of growtier side of your little piece of wood to be the inside, and we're going to coat it. I left my glue dried up a little bit on the outside. We're just going to like coat it really heavy in the glue. So let's see here. There we go. Really nice, thick coat of glue. Okay? And then once again, sorry about that, my camera decided it needed new batteries and didn't want to inform me. But anyway, where we left off is we've now stuck the piece of ribbon on, and we're just going to put on a little bit more glue. Remember, there's no such thing as too much glue in a project like this, just because the wood absorbs a lot, like a lot of the glue. And whatever kind of comes out of the side, this is why you want to have a water-soluble glue, because whatever glue comes out of the sides, we sort of want to have for, we can just like wipe it off, so it's not a big deal. Anyway, so again, we're going to put in a whack of glue, and then just squeeze this down. And again, as you can see, there's glue coming out the sides. You can just wipe that up, right? And there we go. And then we're just going to take our clamp again and clamp it down. Okay? We're going to do the same for the other side as well. Here we go. Okay? Remember, we want everything lined up as nicely as possible. And then we just clip it again. Clip. And just reline it up. Make sure it's all really nice and lined up. And stuff. And if you've got any glue dripping like this, just wipe it away. Don't worry about getting glue on your ribbon. If you want to keep the ribbon its color, the glue will dry white, clear. So, that's not a big deal. And if you have a situation like this here where it doesn't line up, make sure it's lined up at the top, because if it's not lined up at the bottom, we can always adjust this later. The next steps will be involved with the adjustment of those things. So, once again, we're going to let this dry. Please make sure to wash your brushes. As you can see, I changed brushes between the last clip and this one, and that was because I accidentally left my brush here. If you use all-purpose white glue, you can just throw the brush in some water. It should be able to kind of get its shape back, and the water should help get most of the glue out. But, you know, avoidance of that is better than having it happen. So that's this step, and I'll show you the next step when this is all dry. So it's the next day, and we're going to continue our little shrines. Yeah, I just let mine dry overnight because I started it fairly late in the day. So, you know, if you want to just let it dry overnight, that's a good thing. Don't worry about it. Sorry, I've been reorganizing my incense collection, and I've got like incense dust all over my face from the incense sticks, and it's horrible. Anyway, let's go on to the next step here. Let's just get you set up again. There. So that's where we left off. Just take the clips off. Oh, they want to come off. Sometimes you get a little glue like that. See it glued on a little. You can pick that stuff off. There we go. So now, sort of one of the moments of truth is we fold it up and we see what it looks like. I'm going to show you some of the issues with mine. I could have done the ribbon quite a bit tighter on both sides here. I gave it a little bit too much leeway, but it doesn't stand quite as nice as I'd like it to. Okay, trying to think of how we can fix that. That, of course, is an issue that you guys might come up with. What I think I'm going to do to fix that is I'm going to stiffen up the ribbon. And so to do that, I'm going to get my glue brush, and overnight I just put some water in my glue. All white glues are water soluble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue that. But for now, I'm going to show you guys the next step. So assuming that you closed it up and that it closed up and it was just exactly how you wanted it, the next step is holding it closed to sand or file this edge here and this edge here, so it's relatively flat. It'll make it far easier for you to have in your bag. And also maybe sand a little bit more on the outside here, just along here. This is where you're getting the basic finish. You will be sanding a couple more times in the process, in between your base coats of paint, for example, which we will discuss that later. So an easy trick, again, is using these guys. You just clamp it down so it all gets held nice and tight together. And then, again, this is part of the reason why I use one of these. I don't know how well you can see this, but I file and sand like I'm a jeweler, partly because I've been trained as a jeweler. So naturally, for me, this is the sanding motion or the filing motion. But sand or file, however, is comfortable for you. So I'm going to get to work on sanding this, and then I'll turn you back on and you can see what it looks like. Alright, so we've got it all sanded off the way I like it. I'm leaving it kind of rough just because I like a bit of a homey feel to things. That's my aesthetic. So there we go. And I'm just going to run another quick little bit over there. Just want it nice and smooth, and it's a really good time to use it, your tactile senses. Alright, now I'm just going to put this little bit of glue on the ribbon. Now this will just stiffen your ribbon up a little bit, so don't worry about it. And it's not necessarily a mandatory step. I'm sorry, my hand keeps getting in your guys' way of seeing what's going on. Yeah, just kind of gluing it. And then I'm going to fold it back up into its closed position. And clamping it down again. And kind of pushing it into the position I want it to be in. sorry. I shouldn't vlog with paintbrushes in my mouth. Bad vlogger. Bad. Alright. So there's that. I'm just going to let that dry now. Now the next step that you can do, if you have to do this kind of process, the next step that you can do is preparing your paints. Now, here, let's just go and have a little talk about all this. Hey there. So, with regards to preparing your paints and decorating of your mini shrine, there are billions and billions of options. You can do basically whatever you want. From this point, if you wanted to decoupage it, I would cover it in glue and start decoupaging and do it to your heart's content. With something of this size, though, I would suggest you do fairly simple pictures with decoupage, and usually stuff that's on a very thin paper. So if you can get stuff that's like paper, like napkins or something like that. I have actually seen paper napkins with like the goddess symbol on it, which were really cool. Yeah, anything like that. Just because the layers won't build up too quick, and so you won't have too much stuff on it. But it's trial and error, whatever you pick. I'm going to show you guys how to do it like the original one here, which is painted. Just, you know, to bring the project to its fruition. One thing that I do, which I didn't do with my first one, but I do with all my paintings now, is I use holy waters in them. I mainly use acrylics or watercolor paint, and the water that I use, because I don't use a medium in my acrylic paint, I buy acrylic paints that you can use water as a medium for. So I use holy waters. An example of this is this stuff here. This is just lunar water. This is, if you guys have seen my stuff video, this is actually just some of that blue moon water from 2010? Or 2000, that's from 2009. It was collected on a blue moon in December. Oh, oh, I almost dropped the bottle. Oh, oh no. Anyway, sorry. But yeah, using holy waters like that, or any sort of holy water in general, is a really interesting way to imbue some energy into it. You can also use a solar water, proper holy water. I know when people are painting icons, like Christian imagery icons, they tend to use proper holy water in the application. You can also bless your paints and consecrate your paints. I personally don't consecrate or bless my paints just because I use my paints all the time for everything. But for example, I've got this little jar here, which is leftovers from a painting I finished just the other day. It's very diluted, that's why it's not covered. I kind of need it to dry out a little bit. But it has holy water in it, and it's just a plain old black paint. I'll do the same with the paint that I'm going to use for this mini shrine, of using the holy water as a diluting water instead of just plain old tap water. So that's one idea that you can do. Another thing that you might have noticed in my previous videos is whenever I'm working on religious craft work, be it paintings or anything like that, I always have incense going. I've always created a sacred space beforehand. This kind of crafting is no different than creating an incense or anything like that. Having a ritual space is really important. It's really, really helpful. So yeah, I'm going to cut it off here, and we're going to wait until this glue and stuff has dried, and then I will show you the next couple steps. See you later.